All right, tonight we're going to do a number of things, maybe in this order, maybe not in this order. We'll see what happens. One thing I'm going to try to get in the habit of doing myself, as well as you guys, is to always push up your code to your GitHub account. And what I'm going to start doing is pushing my instructor code up to GitHub so that the next instructor can pull down and continue on. But it's good practice for you guys just to do it for your own backup purposes. Imagine if your computer fails and it breaks. The screen breaks, the hard drive fails. If you don't back up your files, you're going to be SOL. What is that? Shit out of luck. Thank you. We're talking about acronyms earlier. You should be storing things on GitHub as a good backup and a good sharing mechanism. Because once it's up on GitHub, you can distribute that code to other people. You can have other people pull down your code. Like if you had a problem with your website, with your code, you could push it up to GitHub. You can send me the link of your GitHub repo, and I can go over there. I can go to my terminal and say git pull, paste in the address, and I can pull down your code in a heartbeat. You don't have to like send me a zip file or upload files to Dropbox or something like that. You should utilize Dropbox or Google Drive to back up your own files, as well as GitHub. But I'll start doing that right now. But number one, tonight I really want to pause Syracuse.com just for a little bit and show you a few things about responsive web design and show you a few more things about JavaScript and apply it back to our Syracuse.com prototype. Sometimes when you get into a middle of a project, like right now, Syracuse.com, right in the middle, it's hard to like jam new things into it, whether it's JavaScript or responsive web design. And quite often, I like to break out and go to what I call a sandbox copy and do experiments without ruining my beautiful original prototype, and then learn from that sandbox, and then bring the code back into the main copy. I do that a lot because there's nothing precious about your websites. You should really make clones and copies and fool around with it. There's nothing. You're not going to break anything. It's not a dish. It's not fancy china or anything. You really want to experiment as much as you can with this stuff. I'm going to show you a beast mixin in Sass that will help you write a CSS media query super fast, and it'll simplify your responsive web design code needs times 10. And through learning what that beast mixin is and how to use it, you're going to be able to turn your homepage columns into responsive columns very fast. We'll do that. We'll probably take a break. I think we have a reporter coming in from the stand. Okay, she's here right now. We're going to be taking a break in about 40 minutes or so, and then you can go around and she's going to talk to you and I don't know, do some. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah. You're in the wrong place. There's nothing positive here. Pack it up. Yeah.
The guest was asked kind of like why I'm here, so I'm just excited to hear more. I came to your kickoff, and now that it's been a few weeks, I'm just excited to like catch up and hear what you all have done in the meantime. Yes.
Grad senior?
I'm a grad student, so I'll be finished at the summer as well. Thank you so much.
Cool. She brought treats. She brought snacks. Yeah. Right? Nothing? Oh, pack it up. Get out. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Anyways, we'll take a break and we'll interact with her. We're going to come back and then we're going to just review what you guys learned a bit about last night about JavaScript, just intro to JavaScript, but we're going to quickly apply it to a sandbox copy of Syracuse.com and learn how to take that bare JavaScript knowledge and apply it to something real in our prototype. And in doing so, we're also going to combine it with a CSS transition property. You're going to see how JavaScript and CSS kind of play together to create certain effects. Through doing all of this, number 9, I think you're gonna see where I utilize the ampersand symbol for pseudo classes or for extending selectors further, especially when you nest selectors. Doesn't make any sense me verbally saying this right now, but has anyone seen me use the ampersand symbol in SAS? Yeah, I did it a couple times, yeah. It's a good way of referring back to your original selector, especially when you're nesting things. What's great for like ampersand : hover, or ampersand with a secondary class called active, and some other little things. But we're going to have to utilize it for revealing and hiding the navigation stuff. And if we do get time, start placing in real images, headlines, and paragraphs into the Syracuse.com prototype. I've been holding off on that as long as possible because you have to like focus on layout in the beginning of a project. Some of you really want to dive into the font families and colors and font sizes, but none of that will help you unless you have your layout in place. And then finally, when you get to this, it's like the fun part. I mean, all this is fun, but the fun part, the easy part, is just dropping in headlines, styling them, making them responsive a little bit, tinkering with the font sizes from mobile to tablet to desktop. And in doing so, you should come away. We're not going to finish Syracuse.com tonight. You're probably not going to finish Syracuse.com tomorrow night. But we will. I will have a live coding session on Sunday where I show you how to really take this Syracuse.com to the finish line and like just finish off that last 5%. Hopefully, you get. We roughly get to 75–80% done by tonight and tomorrow night. But really, I'm going to help you with that last bit. Finish it up so that you can hand it in by Monday in whatever state. And then I'll give you feedback, and then you're going to resubmit it later on. Tonight is my last official class. Okay, where's the tissue box? Where's the tissue box? No one cry. Okay, no one cry tonight. No. I will be doing live coding sessions on Sunday, and then I'll be doing some workshops with you guys in the future, whether on a Saturday or Sunday or live on YouTube. I plan on revisiting you guys and showing you advanced things when you guys are ready. And I'm already planning a creative coding workshop for you guys and for the community later on in June or July in the summer months, where you get to like abuse JavaScript and CSS and HTML to do something fun and creative, not so websitey. Websitey, is that a fancy term? Is that the technical term? Not so appy or websitey, but something fun and colorful, and then you really feel like you're manipulating the computer to do something cool, something fun. All right. Let's open up your Syracuse.com prototype that we used, whether you used it last night or the night before with me on Monday night. But first of all, how do you open up project folders with VS Code? What's the best way of doing that? Drag and drop, yeah. Drag the folder in because why?
Because it opens everything.
It opens up everything. Awesome. But number 2 reason why it's super important? Puts you in that folder. Puts what in the folder? Well, it puts your whole editor in that folder, but the terminal. Okay, when we open up terminal and we queue up the SAS mechanism, you already start in that project folder. You don't have to change directory and try to dive and find your way into that. It's like a shortcut. So it's there's many benefits of dragging the folder in. All right, so here we go. I'm going to drag. Where are we? Careers in Code module 2, Syracuse.com, and drag it in. Nothing happening. I'm going to immediately, before I get any further in this project, is to go down to my terminal and do what? What am I going to do in the terminal right away? Yeah, open up SAS and pwd. Where am I? Okay, module 2/Syracuse.com. What does that tell me? If I want to turn on SAS, what do I got to do before I turn on SAS? Got to get in. Yeah, I got to get in. I got to change the directory cd and tell the terminal start looking in the CSS folder, not in the root folder. The root folder will be Syracuse.com. And now I do another pwd print working directory. And now the terminal is looking exclusively in the CSS folder. And I'm going to start up the Sass machine. I'm not talking about Caitlin over there, but Sass watch style.sass : style.css. And can we see that from afar? Let me get this to be bigger. Vroom, vroom, start up the Sass machine. Sass --watch style.scss. Take that Sass file and listen for changes. And if there's any changes to that file, boom, spit it out, output it into a file called style.css. And that's what the browser can read. The browser cannot read Sass files. And when you hit return, I think, boom, Sass is like, "Ooh, you're talking to me," and now I'm listening for changes. Not that we did any changes, but this is like a new first thing that you have to do almost every time you come back to a project. Questions? Does that feel familiar now? Does that feel comfortable, almost natural? Don't worry, you'll forget. And you'll get into a project and you'll start editing your Sass, you know, a little body background color, red. You'll hit save and you open it up in the browser and you'll be like, why do I not see red? What is wrong? I want to quit web design. I quit. I'm dumb. I'm stupid. I can't do this. And then 5 minutes later, you're going to be like, oh yeah, I forgot to turn on Sass. But it's a natural progression. If you don't see your change, you run through your own mental steps and you're like, oh, I just forgot to turn on the ignition. Bum, 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 bum. Okay. What does this even look like? Let's open up in the browser. And it looks like this. Oh, look at this beauty. Look at this beauty. Something like this. Does your copy something look like this? Reminiscent? Just to review the structure, we have a header going across the top. And the header has background color black applied to it. And then we have the main content after that. And I don't think the main content, but what has black down there? I can't remember. Let's look closely at my file. Index.html. Terminal, go away for a second. Go down there. Bump, 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 bump. Yeah, main opens up, but we have a section called showcase. Can anyone explain the difference between a main element and a section element? Why do I have main first and then section class equals showcase? What's the difference? Is one more important than the other?
Yes.
Yes. What is that?
Basically, like Google will search for the main tags first, and then the section kind of gives some kind of semantic value to whatever.
Yeah.
But it's lesser than.
You're right. Okay. First, Google will look and index your main content. Any content in the main element is now up on a pedestal, and this is the most important content. But sometimes visually and even semantically, you got to subdivide the main content. Not all the main content is completely equal. In this case, we have one chunk for the showcase and another chunk for the trending articles. They're equal chunks, but really the showcase is a little bit more important, but Google doesn't really care, but we need some kind of element to help us delineate and tell the difference between the two. And for styling purposes, you know, I wanted to continue the black, so with section class equals showcase wrapped around all those showcase articles, I'm now going into my Sass file and turning showcase to background color black. But if I scroll down to section class equals trending, trending was white with background color or something. So wherever you see like some kind of big color change, it's probably the difference of two different boxes. Now inside a section you have multiple articles, multiple children if you will. An article doesn't necessarily mean a magazine article. It really means a little tiny group of related content. So inside an article right now, not my primary one, let me zoom out just a little bit. Not that we didn't really get into the article structure, but inside every article you're going to have an image, you're going to have a headline, maybe an excerpt, maybe a call to action, 4 little mini children. And by wrapping an article around those 4 little mini children, you're telling Google that those 4 mini children all relate to each other. And then you have multiple articles inside one section. You can have multiple sections inside one main element. So there's like a little hierarchical tree that's starting to happen. You have one main element on your page. I was explaining this on Monday, like what happens when you have multiple mains? Well, then Google gets confused. Which one's the main element? By having one main element, you're now just saying, Google, look here for the most important information. But, by the way, there's multiple sections. They're all equal. They're just different children, different regions, if you will. And then you can have multiple articles inside a single single region. Question?
The div article, the div and the article.
Yeah.
Is the only difference between them like the meaning that Google
Yeah.
puts on it?
Yeah. So a div is ambiguous. It's valueless. It's nameless. Google has to go into a div and figure out, is this important? Is this not? Often Google will be able to kind of figure it out, sometimes with the help of an H tag or some other content. Sometimes Google gets it wrong. So the nerds and geeks of the W3C got together and they came up with these new elements that really punch out the value to Google and other search engines that, hey, everything inside this article, granted only at the number one, but eventually an image, a headline, a paragraph, is all interrelated, but all four article children all relate to showcase right, but they all relate to section class equals showcase. Now, when you see divs wrapped around articles, the div doesn't really do anything. This is really a utility div. What did we use showcase right for? Can anyone remember? What was showcase right? Yeah, section it off. Yeah, and make it side by side because we had secondary on the left, showcase on the right, but we used Flexbox. If I go back up, Mr. Flexbox. Showcase row was wrapping around secondary and showcase right. Now it's kind of hard to see this. This would be a perfect time to collapse, child pieces like this. Now you can see showcase row is wrapped around secondary article, singular article, and then a showcase right group. Display flex only affects its immediate children, not grandchildren, not great-great-grandchildren or whatever. Flex only subdivides the immediate children. Anyways, so you can have multiple articles in a section, you can have multiple sections in the main element, but you should only have one main element. Our problem today, among many problems that we always have, is this. When I take that browser and make it small, there's nothing telling the browser to display articles in a single column. Now these are tiny itty-bitty articles, and no one wants to view itty-bitty articles. You want to view things in a nice single column most of the time. There are sometimes opportunities that have 2 columns, maybe 3 columns max, but it gets, just judge the size right now. This is not a good opportunity to read a headline or a paragraph inside a third article. It's okay kind of a 50% column, but it's best if on a mobile site you have a single column. But right now it's just using one set of styles for everything. So pause and watch me give you just a basic syntax of how to switch. We're going to focus right on showcase row. Showcase row is subdividing secondary and all those little tertiaries. Don't do this. I'm going to come back to the, where was I with this? This was home, the home view. And trendy, no. Showcase right, showcase row, there we go. Okay. Now traditionally, don't do this, just watch. Traditionally, you would have to say at media, all devices and something in parentheses needs to be true in order for the browser to use whatever's inside these curly braces. What does this mean? All devices. What do I mean by all devices? And this throws you back maybe to Monday or last week. All devices means all printers, all projectors, and all screens are going to use this following property. All the code that I'm going to type out here, which apparently I hit visibility, is all going to be applied to any device. What goes inside the parentheses? Can anyone remember what goes inside these parentheses? A pixel width. Yeah, some condition that needs to be true. And that condition is usually something that relates to your viewport. And what does viewport mean? Screen, yeah. If I take out my mobile device, this is a viewport. My browser, this is a viewport, but really the viewport is the width of your browser. Like right now I have a small browser on this giant screen. So my viewport right now is only, well, if I just, well, no, I'm not going to measure it right now. But it's only like 400 pixels right now, so this doesn't qualify. But once it's at least 700 pixels, something happens. And that something is going to be showcase row. I want you to wake up and I want you to become flex. But showcase row, when you're mobile or like just the default properties above, don't be like anything. Don't do anything. Just hang out. When you don't specify properties for a div or for any element, the default is usually just display block, turn yourself on, and width 100%. It's not going to do anything special. But when a special condition is met, like this, then it will start to subdivide. Let's see what happens. Save, refresh. Whoa, now look at this. Secondary is on the left. No display flex, so then this box of, what was it, showcase right with my little children inside it goes down below. If I expand the browser past 700, it snaps side by side because display flex engages. Display flex starts to turn on, and this will cascade on top of the default properties, on top of the non-existent default properties that I did not specify. Now, I'm going to be very literal, okay, even though you don't always have to be super literal. I'm going to go up here and say display block. That's the default property. I don't even have to say that. I don't have to type it out to be a block. That's always its default properties. But when it becomes larger than 700 pixels, it becomes a flex layout. So now if I do this, save, okay. It's supposed to be 100%, but right now it's not flex, it's just block, and then flex engages. What I should do also is come down, and I'm going to cut this and just move it down a little bit further past showcase right here, because I'm going to talk to the secondary class and say, hey secondary, when you hit tablet, when you are larger than 700 pixels, you're going to become width 50%. But when you're not larger than 700, hey secondary, no, I don't need you at 50%. I'm going to make you go back to 100%. Hey showcase right, I know you're trying to be 50%, but you're going to go to 100% until you're told otherwise. And showcase right down here, you're going to then become width 50%. Only when you're above 700 pixel breakpoint threshold. Save, refresh. Now look at secondary, 100%. Primary, I'm not talking to the primary. And then the showcase wrapper around the tertiaries are currently 100%. Expand, expand, expand. Get to that 700 pixel breakpoint. Boom. Then it snaps into the 50%. So once this viewport measurement is satisfied, once that's true, the browser executes everything inside here. And notice I'm not repeating a bunch of styles. I'm not going back up and saying background color yellow, background color orange, or min heights, or whatever I have inside here. I'm only trying to cascade properties that I need to change, that need to be engaged at that exact moment. What do you think? Does that make sense? It's like you're telling the browser only use special styles when the moment is right, when that viewport minimum width 700 pixels is correct. I can also come in here and say, hey tertiaries, you start at 100% width, but tertiaries, just to keep this consistent, tertiaries with one period, tertiary, once you engage in a tablet, you're going to become 50% of your little space. Save, refresh. So let's go back to mobile. Everyone's 100%. Look at that. Secondary 100%, tertiary 100% little blocks. You see the little 1, 2, 3, 4s? 0. Okay, so what I did with mobile was everything above this media query. It was just like default properties, defaults. I could, if I really want to, make a media all and minimum with 0 pixel, but no, don't. Just let your defaults, yeah. When I say default, start thinking it's mobile first. It's mobile only. And then you start overriding properties with your tablets and then your desktops.
So the default showcase right and showcase are 100%.
To start with, yep, upstairs, yeah. And that's typically what you do want to start with. You want things to be 100% width. And you want the default block. You don't need any flex. You don't need anything side by side. But then it starts to get real a little bit. Things start to happen, especially with display flex. And then we went back to the properties that we started with, especially the 50% blocks. I love it though, because the background colors are telling us a story. As soon as I get past that 700 pixel breakpoint, and does the term breakpoint make sense? That's actually a term that designers and developers use. Breakpoint, it's the moment it changes. It's that 700 pixel viewport measurement where things break down or change. And now in that row, display flex engages. Secondary, you're now 50%. Showcase right becomes 50%. And then the little children inside it even become, the tertiaries become 50% of the available space. But I'm going to do the same thing with trending articles. I'm going to do it the long way so you can see this long form way of doing a media query. And I'm going to show you the beast Mixin that will make this a lot easier to manage for yourself. Now, I'm going to scroll down to trending. And I'm going to go past trending. What am I going to write to start out a tablet media query? I'm going to talk about trending only here, but what am I going to write out? How does a media query start? At media, yeah. You're basically saying a certain type of media is going to use this. What type of media is going to use this? All. And what does all encompass? Printers, projectors, and screens. As far as I know, I think there's just 3 types of media. And what else? And something in parentheses needs to be true in order for the browser to use everything in these curly braces. What's my tablet breakpoint for right now? 700. Am I going to just write out 700px? No. You have to be very CSS-esque. Minimum width, colon, 700px. Now, I've noticed this on some browsers. If I put a space bar here, it doesn't work. But some browsers are cool with it. Some browsers will use this. So pack it in nice and tight so that it works on all browsers. Now, is there anything about trending itself that needs to be tablet friendly? If I look at the default properties just for trending, background color, yellow, padding, 1 rem, top and bottom, 0, left and right. No, that can remain on mobile, tablet, and desktop, going all the way up. I won't work with the H2 right now. I'm going to focus on trending row. Trending row, is there something that needs to be engaged on tablet and not mobile? It's these 2 properties, yeah. These 2 properties should travel, come downstairs, and only be applied when the moment is right. Let's see what happens. Come down here. Okay, my little articles are still like 30% of the space with some margins. Remember the arms being cut off on Monday? But if I expand this and hit the breakpoint, boom, display flex, flex wrap gets engaged. Go back up to my properties, my trending items. They're trying to be, the background color lime green, and they're doing a little width action, and special margin, and then some children's arms are being cut off. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me. I'm kidding. You're gonna hear some abstract metaphors that are they're very dark. Anyways, trending items. They're trying to be, right now, 33% of the available space, more or less, with some monkeying around. But that magic should happen only on tablet and above. So my little trending item, children, you are going to start out as width 100% default, and then only become special when you're on tablet. Margin can stay for right now until I know otherwise. And then the whole children being cut off, the arms being cut off, I'm going to take that magic and not do any of that magic until tablet. Until Tabletville, if you will. Save. See what happens. Refresh. Let me go back here. Now we got some issues because if I zoom in, look at, I got some. Yeah, look at those little guys. What's going on? Why is that happening? Almost. The padding of trending itself is wrapping all around, and then oh yeah, right here. Sorry, that's what I was looking for. Trending items, they're trying to be 100%. But they're also being pushed in 1 pixel on the left, and 1 rem, 16 pixels on the left, 16 pixels on the right. So they're getting they're being pushed around a little bit. So maybe the default shouldn't be 100%. Maybe it should be a calculation of what? 100% minus 2 rems. 2 rems, 1 on the left, 1 on the right. Oh, my beautiful little children fit now. Oh, do they fit? Hold on. Maybe, wait, hold on. It should be. Oh, they also have margin on all 4 sides, a half a rem. I'm going to take margin away, and I'm going to put margin down here, only on Tabletville, so that we have some clean widths here. Okay, now look at what happens. I do need a little margin. Margin, come back. Margin 1 rem. There we go. 1 rem on all 4 sides. Now it's working. I think. We'll see what happens. Okay, now it's working. They're just default. They're not even changing background colors because the silly background colors are happening on tablet with the nth child and the cycles that we were talking about on Monday. But once I hit that breakpoint, boom, things start to happen. But where's my flex? Where is my flex? Why isn't flex happening? Trending row, what's going on? Trending row, you're betraying me. Trending row, you're making me look foolish. Trending row. Trending row. Let me get this up here. Trending row, display flex. My article, children. They're trying to be, yeah, the width is still trying to be 100% minus 2 rem. It's not listening to my new width that I've declared. Because I declared, yeah, calculation, 100%, all that fun stuff. I see the children's arms are being cut off, the margins are being filled with, but the width is not being re-engaged. So I'm gonna get silly. I'm gonna cut this for 1 second and just do a little bit of a width 20% just to do something obnoxious, see if it's gonna work. And they don't work. What? SAS, what's going on? This might be a time did SAS fall asleep. I'm going to Control C and quit it and turn it back on. Refresh. No, we're good. Trending item. Did I make a typo? I got my curly braces. Just doesn't like the width. Trending item. Trending row. Trending row, tab in, trending item, width, margin. It's right here. Okay. Anyone have the answer? Let me make this big. Well, now why isn't it not engaging my code? Because this is a great little thing. I know why. Let me zoom in. Boop, 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 boop. Look at what it's telling me in the inspector. It's saying, Jeff, you're 20% being ignored in favor of this. Why is that one being favored over mine down below?
Is that one above it? Under trending?
Yes. It has one extra parent on the original. And I didn't mention the trending parent down here. So therefore, with this extra parent being listed out in the selector, it's more important. It has power. And that's something I don't memorize. It's something I experience. This is pain I experience sometimes in CSS. So what am I going to do? How am I going to fix this? Yeah. Add .trending. Even if I'm not doing anything with trending, I'm going to take all the children trending row stuff, cut it, and move it inside trending so it matches the format. And change my what? Hold on. Save, refresh. Oh yeah, and then change my width 20% back to something, which I lost it because I cut it originally. Calc 100%. Oh, that sounded confident. It was 2 rem, wasn't it? Divide by 3. Order of operations with an extra set of parentheses. I'm going. I gotta get my parentheses wrapped around. Save. Refresh. Okay, here comes the breakpoint. Boom! My little children, my trending children. Boom. So 100%, no flexy. But flex happens and some new widths happen. If you can understand these basic principles without you coding it yourself right now, if you can see how that conditional styles get applied at that breakpoint, you can do all of this. You got to fight with it a little bit, but you can do it. Now, I'm not gonna have you keep writing your own media queries because this gets old really fast, and there's a lot of opportunities to make typos there. I was mentioning if you had a space right here, that doesn't work in some browsers. And then sometimes you forget the the parentheses, and sometimes you forget where that curly brace closes. So I'm going to show you right now the beast Mixin. Let's see. Oh no, hold on. I'll just hit. By the way, if you want to comment out a large chunk of code like this, you highlight it. What's the shortcut to comment out large chunks of code? Any guesses? Command /. And then how do I uncomment it? Same thing with it all highlighted. And it comes back. So I'm going to just turn off all that magic. I'm going to even turn off all of this magic. And I'm going to show you this Mixin now. What's the definition of a Mixin? Can you remember what a Mixin is from Monday or last Wednesday? What's a Mixin? It's like a function. What's a function?
Set of instructions.
Set of instructions, perfect, that you can call to and have the computer execute. Okay. Usually a function contains a lot of redundant statements that you want to do. Usually it's like a chunk of code, not just a single line of code. It can't be a single line. Mixins is just a fancy word for a function. I'm going to try to keep it organized. We created a Mixins file when we were learning a little bit, base/Mixins, and we're doing that little build font exercise. I'm going to make sure Mixins is loaded into my table of contents. Import variables, Mixins, and then start declaring things in the foundation file. Variables and Mixins should go first in your table of contents because you might use variables and Mixins in any of these documents. They have to come first so that as you reference them in SAS, it knows to kind of look them up at the very top because the SAS compiler reads this from top to bottom. So it's like reading it, it puts the variables into the SAS memory. It puts the Mixins into the SAS memory. And then you might use Syracuse.com blue or orange in foundation, but it already has the variables in its memory, so it knows what the orange or the blue values. And then where are we? We're down here in home. We're about to use a Mixin for the responsive styles. And that Mixin's going to be up here. It's already going to be in the browser's memory, the SAS memory, that is. And the beast is located on Google Classroom. Don't use it yet. Let's just witness this beast. It's the last item on Module 2. And the Mixin, let me click on this. Can I click on this? View material. Okay, so it's not all of this code, but it's from here. It's this little Mixin. I'm going to copy just this, and we'll do this together in about 10 minutes, but I want to copy that complete Mixin, come back to the code, to the Mixin's file, go after build font, and paste the Mixin in, and just clean up the curly brace sets. Watch this. I'm just going to clean it up so you can see what the hell is going on. Don't pay attention to this, but watch when I go back to actually write this out myself. Where am I going to start? I'm going to start, I'm just looking at all these styles, showcase row. I'm going to start here. And I'm going to call to the Mixin. It's called at include. Include what? The Mixin is called Breakpoint. Breakpoint. Makes sense? Because it's responsive design related. Now what breakpoint do I want to target? I'm going to feed it a parameter called SM. I'll show you what SM means. You know, it means small, but you're going to see what it correlates to in just a little bit. But think of it as tablet right now. When I hit the small breakpoint for small devices, tablets if you will, showcase row, you're going to change to display flex. Notice this breakpoint, sorry, this Mixin is part of the initial showcase row. Like by default, your display block, but tabbed in, hey, showcase row, I want you to include a breakpoint, small, and showcase row, you're going to be display flex. Let's see what happens when I hit save, compiles, and come back to Syracuse.com. Okay, so showcase row is wrapped around secondary and all my tertiaries. When I hit tablet, boom, it engages display flex. What you don't see is the actual code. Like, how is this happening? Is this magic? It is not magic. Let me open up this and show you what SAS built for me. Showcase row. Okay, showcase row was already nested inside showcase, so SAS automatically spit out both. It spit out display block, and it closed the curly brace for me for showcase row. Next line, it built me at media. It skipped the all. Sometimes all is, I think all is now optional. I apologize for showing you the all and. But look at media, minimum width, 768. It put in its own breakpoint. I'll show you where that's coming from, curly brace. It took the original selectors, showcase row, and spit out display flex, close curly brace. It just wrote all this stuff for you and the selectors, and it spit out display flex for you automatically. Let's take a look at what the Mixin is on the Mixin file. This is where you define what a Mixin is. Hey, at Mixin, I'm making a Mixin called breakpoint, and in parentheses, we're passing a parameter in here. What did we pass in? SM. We didn't pass in the class. We passed in SM. Small. Small is now known as #class. This is called a local variable. Class is going to be used throughout this little parenthesis, the curly brace set somewhere. Okay, so SM, you're now class. If class equals extra small, curly brace, spit out this media query and spit out the content inside it. Now, did I pass extra small? No. So skip that first conditional. Else if, hey class, are you small? Ding, 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 right? It built us in the at media minimum width 768 and passed in the content inside it. What is the content? That was display flex that I wrote out in the curly braces. So what kind of happens is you pass in small, but automatically behind the scenes, it's also passing in the content of your Mixin. So if I go backwards, okay, SM is your class, and display flex is your @content that automatically gets passed in. And what gets returned is this entire statement right here, but @content becomes your display flex or whatever you listed out inside that. So it does all that media query stuff for you. But if you keep reading down, hey class, are you medium? We'll give it a bigger media query and also pass in the content. Are you large? This is targeted towards 1200. And I got these measurements from popular frameworks, specifically Bootstrap, which you'll learn later on. But these are kind of industry standard breakpoints.
And you said content is what?
@content is whatever you wrote inside your curly braces, inside here. So display flex. Now I'm gonna get silly here. I'm gonna do something like margin top 6 rems and margin bottom 6 rems. Don't do this, sweet Jesus. But copy, paste, or not copy, but save, reload, big margins. But if you inspect element and look at this code and look very closely, where the hell am I? No, hold on. Let me just inspect element on the right element. I gotta just touch showcase row, and look at the style sheet. And look very closely at this. Here's the defaults. That right now that I've highlighted in blue, that's a complete style selector. Showcase row, display block, semicolon, close curly brace. It doesn't look like a complete style rule, but it does have that little sneaky extra curly brace right there. SAS is trying to make this file as light as possible, so it's not returning the curly brace to the next line. It's trying to put it up next to it. But then it built me @media minimum width 768 curly brace. Back to the original selector, showcase row, display flex, margin bottom. Anything I wrote into those curly braces gets returned as the content of this Mixin. So it does a media query in it, builds you the content inside the correct curly braces. This is a beast. I love this. Okay. So here comes another example. He's secondary. You're trying to be with 100%, but include breakpoint. When I hit tablet, because the default, this is all desktop, this is all mobile friendly right here. But when I do hit small tablet, what's secondary going to become? On a tablet, what is secondary? That left article. What's the width? 50%. Boom, I don't have to change anything else. Save, refresh. Now, it doesn't know what to do with showcase right yet, and that's why it's all being all weird right now. So if I come down to showcase right and say, okay, showcase right, you are trying to be with 100%, but I'm going to go right towards the end of you and say @include breakpoint small, and what's going to go in here for showcase right? With 50%. While I'm here, what else? What about my tertiaries? Tertiary, I know you're trying to be with 100%, but you are now what? What's on a tablet? What's tertiary? 50%. I know this is redundant, but save, refresh. My little beautiful children, 50%, 50%. What you don't see is, oh, let me get rid of the massive margins because that's obnoxious. Who put that in there? Massive margins. Save, refresh, boom. So if I go back to mobile, less than 700 pixels, I get 100%, 100%, 100% for all those blocks. But as soon as I hit that breakpoint, my responsive styles engage, at least for secondary, showcase row and all that fun stuff, and tertiaries. Training articles, you need to fix yourself. Trending articles, you need to work with me here a little bit. Trending row. Now, where's the best place to put the breakpoints, or sorry, the Mixin? I say after you talk about the defaults first, granted there's no defaults right here for trending row, and you talk about the children inside it, but before you close out the complete thing, this is a perfect spot to talk about the responsive styles. You're just giving room for all the defaults to flow in, and then you could talk include, breakpoint, SM, curly braces. Okay, trending row, you're 100% right now, you're not flex, but you're going to become display flex. Now, I didn't write out trending row. How does it know that display flex belongs to trending row? Yeah, I am one step in. I'm not inside trending item. Trending item is complete right here. So then it goes back up. If I don't belong to you, I belong to that selector. Save, refresh, let's see what happens. Ha! Yeah, I get flexy down there, but I get super flexy. Okay, it takes all the children and subdivides the space. What else do I have to do? I have to talk about the trending item children. And what's going to happen here? The trending items are going to become width. Caitlin, I'm looking at you. 100%. Yeah, 100% minus 2rem, divide by 3. Save. Refresh. Or not. Did I hit save? Hold on, save. Refresh. Hit the, oh, back to, wait, no, hold on.
It's already there.
It's already, oh, well, it can't make the, it's not listening to my 33%. My training item is correct. What am I missing? I am missing something. Yeah, I forced the children to be 33%, but trending rows, I don't care. What were those other two? No, not classes. What else do you have to do with flex? Yeah, flex wrap, which just seems so stupid. What is flex wrap? Okay, this took me a long time to understand flex wrap. Display flex, by default, will take all the children and subdivide them equally and completely ignoring width altogether. Okay, so display flex, super powerful. You need to give it the extra information on how to wrap the content. Like if you have, in this case, if you have, what, 6 children, but they're all 1/3 of the space, you need to tell it how to wrap the content down to new rows. What was that hand gesture? It's my Beyonce. Single ladies, thank you. Flex, wrap. Jeff, stop doing Beyonce and wrap the content. Save, refresh. What's that? It's Wednesday. True, it's hump day. We have a reporter in the room. I don't want to do hump day. I do not want to do hump day. Here's a little mini version. You go out and you grab hump day and you just pull it in. Okay. Anyways, look at trending articles. You're not doing what I'm telling you to do. What's that problem now? Hopefully it feels like a little bit of review here. What's that problem?
It's flush to the left. You're going to give it
Spacing, flush, align center. No. No. What was that? Padding. What about padding and margin? Something's betraying my layout right now. Child number 1 is coming in here, okay, but it's not lining up the T. Number 2 is coming in. Number 3 is trying to go up here. Is there room for 3? No, it's getting pinched, so it goes down to the next available spot. 4, 5 is trying to go here, but it can't, so it goes down here.
Your nth child?
Yeah, the whole nth child. I have to chop off some arms on the left and the right to make it work correctly. And I'm not going to retype that from scratch. I'm going to go up and grab it down my comments. And hey, trending up, whoop. Command slash and back, shift tab. There we go. Hey, children, you don't need the left arm. Hey, child, you don't need your right arm. Beautiful. I still love you. Refresh. What am I missing? Missing something. Let me go down and compare it against my notes. Oh, my margins have to be reduced because I got some big margins by default. But once we hit special tablet, I'm reducing the margins. Boom. My beautiful children. How's that? I know you're not coding it, but isn't it fun to watch and let someone else do all the work? Hashtag thank you very much. All right, let's take a break. What time is it? 6:30 right now. We're going to take a 10-15 minute break. We're going to interact a little bit, and then we're going to come back and you're going to code it. You're going to actually put the beast mode, the beast Mixin. Now, do you understand the word beast? It's like building a lot of code for you. Not building a lot, it's writing the media query for you and returning all the content that you put into the curly braces, which is amazing.
Is there an alternative to this whole if-child concept?
Yes. In the future, there's going to be some CSS grid properties that help you, but there are some moments where you have to like do something with a certain cycle, a certain iteration, where every third item you have to do something. Like sometimes you want to have every odd child have a new background color. Ever like see a table rows? One row is white, the other one's light gray. That's a little CSS style with nth child odd or nth child even
Okay, so you're saying
with a different background
that
color.
This is easier to manipulate than the grid alternative?
Well, right now you're just getting introduced to this, but CSS grid properties help simplify some of the gutter spaces and then the margins on the left and right. Some of this stuff is built into these new properties. But you're gonna suffer a little bit, Dana. You're gonna feel the pain. You're gonna simmer in whatever soup we're cooking right now. Okay? Yeah. Let's take a break. And or what do you want to do? Yeah. Yeah.
Definitely up to you if you want to talk to me, but I would love anybody who is interested in talking, like telling me about how it's been going and stuff, like
Yeah.
how we can hang in. I'd love to start in it, like, I'm Ellie, by the way.
What, Ellie?
Ellie.
Ellie, this is Kelly.
Kelly? Okay.
Yeah. This is Caitlin.
Okay, I remember playing this one last time.
Yeah. You're welcome to walk around. Who would like to talk to her? Who would like to eat delicious chips in Angry Orchard?
Anyway.
Let's start with Kelly. Use this as practice on networking and talking to strangers, by the way. All right, we're back, more or less, some of us. I want you to pair together with a partner, either next to you or someone, and I want you, one of you to drive the car, and the other one to be the backseat passenger. And I want you to implement the beast Mixin and get those color blocks to go into a single column first, and then branch off into the correct format, the thirds and the 50% and all that fun stuff. I want you to get it set up with a partner. Some of you are already making eye contact with your partner. Okay. What's that? You watched it? Yeah. So you're going to get together and discuss how did that all work? All right. Take the next 20, 25 minutes, pair together, and see if you can catch up with what I just did. Hey, I want you to discuss that with your partner. Discuss the strategy. One person drives, the other one gives directions. What the hell did Jeff just do while we watched for 20 minutes? Discuss that.
I know, that's always the hard part.
Figure it out.
It makes so much sense to me. I know we have to mix it beast. So I guess the first thing you should do is
Someone have Tourette's over there? What's going on?
So it's saying like it's an extra tag. Like extra small.
So it's like the, media.
Yeah, please.
Right, so this is the one, this is the one.
Or I should probably not have them see this. All right. If I take this out, that'd be okay.
that link that goes side by side.
Got it. Oh, that was right. Not right. Oh.
So these showcase right and showcase row are 100% unless they get to.
Correct. Nothing.
So all of these will be taken that includes breakpoints. Secondary.
Keep in mind, when you prepare a program, try to have someone drive a car, do the coding, let the other person give you instructions. So the driver kind of has to like be quiet a little bit and let the other person work through the issue. You can give them feedback, but try to listen to your partner. You can collaborate, but try to let the other person work through the issue.
So you just wanted to make sure.
or say you put it in, say for example, he put it in at what? At showcase rate. Showcase rate, okay? So pretty much what he's saying is, pretty much he's saying when the width of the browser is 768 pixels, or it's less than 990 pixels, but more than 768 pixels.
It's really just larger than 768. 768.
Larger, right, larger and smaller.
No, but all the way up.
All the way up.
Until you then declare something about medium.
Something
Well,
about
that
medium.
point, you should go back over there.
It's going to do whatever. So Showcase Right is going to look at whatever you put there. So yeah, almost like that. So right now, look at this code right here. So Showcase Right is usually 100% width. But when your browser is more than 700 or 698 pixels, it's going to be 100.
So that's why we're not going to. Okay, so I'm just above aspect I will put another I'm
So what's going to say here is, look up there, Showcase Right is normally 100% width. So it's going to be the whole entire width of the website. But when you have that breakpoint, it's saying, but if the width of if screen is more than 760, whatever, it's actually going to be that your Showcase Right will be 50%.
So when it's not
Smaller. So think about say this is your screen, right? This is not your screen, but your browser. How big your browser is, right? This is your Chrome. 100% width is going to take all this width. But 50% is going to be 50%
Default,
of
tertiary child movement for them. Breakpoint.
Yeah, it's going to be 100%. The other way around. So if it's smaller, it's 100% width.
This goes back to Showcase Right.
oh, I can really be asking.
And then I tabbed in and I even talked about little tertiary. Yeah.
Because look at the mix status, right? This is saying if this is bigger than that. Yeah, because you're saying the min width is that.
Smoke is actually burning.
So this is your
10 more minutes. 10 more minutes.
is a gigantic parent.
Yes.
So all the children's grow, secondary, tertiary, all that stuff should be all children nested inside a massive showcase. So literally, the showcase right there, primary is good, and then primary is what we call secondary. Your little cut, and then you can start nesting inside that gigantic showcase.
Okay, so primary gets correct. Secondary comes next.
Let's keep it in order. What's technically before secondary? No, I mean, yes. In our, we establish a row first. Yeah, should be row.
But no, now it's. Just keep it, stop that.
So,
Yeah, let's keep doing
yeah. The city. Yep. I'm at Newhouse.
You are in
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I'm a Newhouse web developer and I teach web design at Newhouse and high school.
Oh, really? Okay, so I'm in a coding class right now with Katie.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm with like.
565?
Yeah, it's fun stuff. Actually, just came from that class a year ago. Got me like, I'll have to tell him I got my double dose. It'll make up for the fact that I was kind of late to class today.
Gotcha. What are you guys learning right now?
Well, right now we're like hands on our final project. So like, since we made it through spring break, we went over like all the basics of HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap, and now we're pairing up with the stand to like do design their website. Yeah, so that should be really interesting. I think we went through today like Vyas and like figuring out like just the organizational stuff before we can actually get into design.
How's your coding skills?
I feel pretty good. You know, not too bad for like having like experience. I'm starting to like do jobs and stuff, so I've had that come up a couple times, just like even having elementary knowledge. So I'm definitely glad I'm in the class. Is what I
I've
have.
done a lot of journalism students who took up 565 and had an interview. One said in particular, she was going to be a Rolling Stone magazine. Had a great interview and everything, but then the interview
So that itself makes sense, right? Yeah,
I'm going to ask you a question. I'm so nervous. I'm so sorry.
For you,
HTML skills? This is in 565 at the time. Me, but yeah, I took enjoyed web development. And I'm like, oh, thank God, because we need someone to like edit the blog, but highlight text and make it in each one, and highlight text in each one, put a hyperlink, and open up a new tab, and basically HTML skills. But they're so relieved when the person got there.
No, that makes me feel that I have a job interview actually this coming Friday. It's for like a digital marketing, but like running their blog, running their social media and stuff. And they were like, you know how to use WordPress, and I'm imagining like just doing a little bit of HTML with the WordPress. Oh my gosh, you're such like a breath of fresh air. Oh, it was nice to meet you. Thank you so much for like letting
If you have any questions, just right next to you, lab 205 in house 1.
Okay.
My office is adjacent.
Is that like that corner one?
Yeah, where all the printers and scanners are.
Okay.
Yeah, there's 205 right there. There's not that, there's a bigger room. I'm not in there, but little doorway that is 205 is turn around and there's my door.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm a grad student, so I find myself living in their house, so very familiar with it. So yeah, no, I'll definitely come find you or like send you or something if I have it. Because we're doing it. Just make sure everybody's okay with it. Sure.
5 minutes.
No, okay, I'll make sure not to be.
I just wanted to ask permission. I'm not very photogenic, so.
Oh, no, no, just be candid.
Okay.
Like you guys are.
We'll do like.
Yeah, keep doing the normal thing.
Okay, so space bars are on the outside.
gotten like easier, better going forward?
A little bit of.
I think it's just starting to.
It's really starting to like ramp up. So now when you miss something, it's like, oh my god, you missed something. But it's like when you make the mistake, though, it's part of the process that you're trying to like, all right, now what did I do? And sometimes it's literally as people.
Okay, so when it's super small,
Like almost every time.
Yeah, that's what you guys like. What you're doing.
so let's say that when it's super small, what happens?
Well, none of us have background now, so.
Oh, most of the time, no, it's with the screen. So that's the web screen, right?
Thank you so much. I'm just gonna. I don't want to extend.
All right. What gives me? So width is going to be left to right. Height is going to be down. So when it says, so the screen is really small right now. It says show shade to right or up to right. Is that left to right or up and down? So if you put it there. So when the screen is super small, or when the web page is super small, that one. So page right below the width. The screen is width. Is that up or down? Or left to right? Left to right. Like when the web page is super small, this part is going to fill the entire web page, entire like left to right of the web page in that area. Is it filling on that left to right? Focus on this one. So don't look at this part. Just focus on this one. Because I think, because I know showcase row because this has 100% width. Because they add other mixes. They have added subjects, but why is it look different? But you only add you only focus on the showcase, right? Okay, so now it's going to be bigger. Okay, so when the screen is bigger, showcase right.
Okay, totally understand. I just wanted to ask. Okay.
So what should be in here?
I've been thinking.
I would go all the way up
Question is, where are you supposed to be putting the breakpoints? Just
still watching. Alright.
No, is this talking about something?
Okay, so you had media queries here. So media query is specifically the same thing as Mixin. But Mixin, those are just more efficient. So instead of you writing all of this out, you just write Mixin and then you substitute. Because you had these media queries and it does pretty much
Ah, okay.
so tell me, don't necessarily take it out. So once you have it, so what is this media doing?
Change the code to green, secondary. Okay. Oops.
So, why would you use a Mixin versus a media query? So you see, you know, so what you see, why do you think you would use Mixin versus almost not necessarily. So a mix, close, very close. So you got very close. So what a mixin would do is, you know how you define this right here, this min dash width, 7 pixel. Instead of you defining that multiple times, you define it once and you give it a variable. You give it a variable. So for example, when you had when you put like SM, right? You call it SM. You're defining SM as min dash width.
Because I don't remember.
He put the breakpoint in it. I know he put the whole and then
Child.
and then okay. So he did it. He kept it. He left it. Good. Pick up.
Too much now. You have to wait. You see, this is as far I can go. You see? There you go.
No, I want trending, not trending.
Trending?
Trending. And then go back to your foundation. Yeah. You see how here when you use like a media query, right? You use a media query. Right. When you use a media query, when you define it, first you'll have a variable with the prince part, right? And secondly, you kind of have to define every single thing that you want to happen when right? It has to, and we agree, everything has to be included. But with a Mixin, what you can do is you can write Mixin in pieces of the octave. So you see how, okay, so you read here, it said, hey, when the screen is that size, right? Mine has to do this, and game has to do this. You have to define that. But instead, you kind of mix it. Instead of yeah. Instead of a mix it. So instead of a media query, what you can do instead is do when you are in live. So okay, so instead so when you have a Mixin,
It's either unexpected or expected. space, child check every row, any item for the that's technically closing item.
Okay. So pretty much, I'm just gonna just ignore that part. This right here, I'm not gonna comment that. You're gonna need it. So this is just me query is exactly the same as this right here. Don't include the container part, just the look of the body. Like, yep. So. You see how yeah, exactly. You just said the size of Mixin. Yeah. And then what people like about using Mixin is instead of here how you have to write the body, container, you can actually just write the Mixin individually per div. So for example, pretend this was
Anyone got it? Anyone? Very close? Put into a break.
So the reason why people like Mixin, right, is instead of you rewriting kind of everything, right, you define that you have to rewrite body, you have to rewrite container. Instead of doing that, you can just literally call that again within container, and then
That breakpoint right now is talking to what selected.
that's pretty much like you said. Mixins is just you don't have to define with again, and you can define how you want to change at that size individually per class. Make more
Hold on, we
sense?
gotta the curly brace is gonna hurt you. We're missing closing curly brace, right?
I think that you.
The other way. Is that part of the
It's so much then
No.
declare your default? Declare a breakpoint.
That's my individual, you guys.
Hold on, look at this, watch. AJ, watch. You have default first, you know, stuff, colon stuff. This is all your default properties. And then you might even have a child something going on with some stuff, colon stuff. But now when it's time to talk about responsive for that default, look where I am. I'm after that child declaration. Here comes at include breakpoint SM. Now when I do stuff colon stuff, that breakpoint is now doing something with default. Because look at it, I'm not inside child, I'm after child, and this goes back up to that parent. So declare your mobile stuff first, and then you can declare responsive stuff after that. Yeah?
But what are you doing with it?
I try to like explain how
Go 100% last time.
It's bound to the box.
yeah, so we're just trying to okay. I think that we're just trying to figure out where the breakpoints are. Where Cash, where in terms of the where should the breakpoint be?
Maybe this has to go out. The way I say breakpoints, like, for example, here you got 2 items. It's where you change what you change.
Yeah. So breakpoints, I think, Andrew mentioned breakpoints. It's just a matter of like what's the main. I think it's just a good thing just to watch.
When it's titled, well, it's gonna start subdividing, like it's again.
I think you understand it. Just like I'm just like I want to know what requirements of the assignment are. So you want to put.
Now, I don't see like yellow anywhere. Like, what is that yellow? That showcase red. Well, showcase red has blue children. So we're never really gonna see that yellow.
Because I think they have it.
Well, mine works. I don't know if it's supposed to.
It works, yeah. There you go.
I know, but don't like last week when we were doing. Yes.
Let's go back up to primary and secondary. Let's just follow the code. To make your code editor just a little wider. So showcase row. Now, showcase row is a child of what parent? Showcase, so let's tab it in. Let's tab showcase row in. So you can see that, boom, it's part of, it's part of the show. Wait. It lines up with primary, doesn't it? See, primary is a child, showcase row is a child.
Oh, okay.
Display block, is that something?
That's good.
But you understand the difference.
And then just include breakpoint small, display flex.
Cool.
Should that be with 50% too?
No. That is gonna be a default. We're just saying she's gonna start subdividing children.
So then secondary.
It's tab secondary.
I think I just kind of fell off of the assignment. I mean, but like as long as she understands it.
So
Just put in the breakpoint. Where she
The
puts
breakpoint is gonna like kind of really hard to know exactly what to do.
Put, yeah.
Your cursor's blinking. What's that curly brace? What's on?
Wait, did they delete all the media queries from last class?
Right now, even though your tabs are kind of like zigzagging.
Probably not.
That's not the best place to put that. Yeah, right there.
What?
Why did I tell you to put it there?
that is secondary.
See what I mean? Because it lines up with.
So for the
secondary.
In foundations. In foundations.
Trying to manipulate like this.
Yes,
but
exactly.
you just put in that.
Read my.
Okay, showcase right, 100. Breakpoint small with 50, display flex, flex wrap. Close break. And then we go third.
Yep.
Width is
So now
100.
your tabs are getting snappy. See how like 30 is okay, but I don't. Right now, it's hard to tell that I'm inside showcase right because showcase right, you have it all lined up in the same tab marker. The third. Go back up. Wait, go back up to showcase right. Keep going right there.
You guys have the same like.
See that tab marker? I want to know that width, min, height, and background color are children of showcase right. So I want width, min, height, and background color tapped in. Let's have the breakpoint line up with that as well. Because this breakpoint relates to showcase right. Tell child right.
Tab should
Let's get rid of that extra space above it. Let's tab in with 50, display flex, flex wrap, wrap, 40, 41, 42. Line 40, 41, 42.
Yeah.
Let's have those children because they're children of the breakpoint. And that curly brace on 43 should line up with the at and to. Beautiful. Third needs to be tapped in because it's technically a child of the child showcase. Why love it, love it. You got it. See when all those curly braces are to the left, you can tell what you're actually closing. So clean up those tabs to establish parent-child relationships, and it makes it easier to read the code. How are we doing? Let's stop. Let's do a hard stop. There's the sound of your brains right now decompressing. Let's do a hard stop. Stop. Relax. What were some of the pain points? Raise your hand. What was some of the confusion?
Trending articles won't flex.
Trending articles won't flex. Why? Alright. What else?
Trying to remember which box to manipulate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about in particular, when do you do a flex? Where do you do a flex?
Hey.
So answer that question. Where do you put in display flex typically? Is it a child property kind of? Or a parent type of property, yeah. So showcase row is a mini parent because it has secondary and showcase right inside it. Showcase right, even though it's a child, that's a little mini parent because it has 4 little tertiaries inside it. So you gotta tab your code. A lot of you aren't tabbing code cleanly. You're just having everything left aligned, or some of you just have it. All your tabs are doing this. I mean, you're destroying the way that you're reading your code because you're losing the ability to tell what's a child, what's a parent. Now we're introducing this breakpoints Mixin, and that needs to be tabbed in and lined up with the child properties of whatever that you're coding. And those interior properties need to be tabbed in. You need to keep track of your curly braces. It gets on it and really fast. What did I do to help me organize a little bit about my closing curly braces?
Comments. Yeah, I did it once, but why don't you just lay down some comments everywhere that you see a closing curly brace telling you exactly what it's closing or what it used to close in case things get crazy and out of control. Don't be too cool to tab and organize everything. You know, I've worked with a lot of students before, and they're like, nah, I'm too cool. I don't want to take the extra 2 seconds to tab, and it's almost you just want to tell someone, clean up your bedroom, fold your clothes. I'm the guy who puts my clothes all over my floor here, but code needs to be super organized. Lay down some comments everywhere that you see a closing curly brace. It will actually force you to pay attention to how things are tabbed. And also, when you do SAS nesting, look at my showcase is a mega parent. It's all against the left. Background color is a child property. Color white is a child property. Primary selector is a child selector of showcase. It's a child box inside showcase. So that is tabbed in. Background color purple, min height is child properties of primary. We haven't really done much with primary. So that opens and closes pretty fast. But look at my first tab marker has all my children of showcase. Showcase row is technically a brother-sister of primary, so they line up with each other. And then the only thing I'm talking about showcase row is start with display block. Just be old-fashioned basic div on a mobile device. But when you hit breakpoint, when you hit the tablet, become a flex box. Start to subdivide your children. And close showcase row. Now, I could have actually technically kept showcase row open. This curly brace, I could have brought this curly brace down because secondary is a child of showcase row, and showcase right is a child of it. I could have continued on with this, but I didn't. It still works nonetheless. Okay, here's secondary. secondary, talking about its properties, and then I'm giving it its own little unique little media query. Hey, on a mobile device, you're going to be 100% of the available space, secondary, but on a tablet, you're going to become 50% because Flex is going to like pick you up and move you to the left edge. Showcase right, you're hanging out at 100% on a mobile device. And the hell did I do here? Showcase right, I didn't update this, but do I need Flex and Flex Wrap right now on mobile only? No. So I should move that out of Showcase right on mobile, leave tertiary, and then bring it down and say, hey, Showcase right, yeah, you're going to snap to 50%, but you're also going to start subdividing your little tertiary children inside you. Look at my tabs, to my point, look at my tabs. I can see a little parent, I can see some child properties, I can see some child selectors, and then a breakpoint that relates to Showcase right.
So we have a breakpoint in Showcase right, which I do. And that's where you put the display flex and the flex wrap. And then I closed that breakpoint and opened up third. And then another breakpoint?
No. Well, look at Showcase right, talks about stuff, and I talk about tertiary right away, but I closed tertiary. I closed third in your case. But then when I start this breakpoint does not talk about tertiary right away. It talks about Showcase right because I am outside tertiary. I'm back against the tab of Showcase right. Hey, Showcase right, become 50%. Hey, Showcase right, become Flex and Flex Wrap Wrap. But then what's nice about Mixins and SAS is I can start talking about a child of whatever this Mixin is talking about, and it's talking about Showcase right. I can start talking about tertiary right here. Hey, tertiary, I know you're trying to be 100%, but you're going to become 50% on a tablet. Probably. One problem that you may be that may be happening that is screwing you up and you don't even know it's screwing you up is having extra spaces. Watch this. If I hit an extra space and then I go to include breakpoint and I hit hold on for a minute, save, and where the hell is my terminal? It doesn't detect any errors, but sometimes that extra space breaks SAS compiling a little bit. It doesn't sometimes know what's going on with this breakpoint because it thinks it's out in the middle of nowhere. So I want you to have all your lines kind of like pushed up against each other and no extra return keys. Have no extra return keys. And I have everything bunched up.
showcase right, 36, 37, with, let's pass those properties, because we're technically, main showcase right. No, no. Yes, beautiful. Now you can tell that tertiary is a child. That's detail. Let's line that up with the other ones. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. And with 50%, then you keep that open. With 50%, and then you guys start talking about tertiary right after that. And then let's bring tertiary up. Let's get rid of that extra space. Back up. Yeah, perfect. Let's tab in tertiary so it lines up with 50%. Beautiful. Let's tab in the next with 50%. Boom. Let's go down and grab that curly brace and tab that in to line up with inside tertiary. And then get rid of 51. We have an empty space on 51. And let's tab in the curly brace if you want to line it up with the and then you're missing a curly brace for showcase rates. So let's add in a new curly brace to line up with showcase rate. That means going up and down and judging. Beautiful. Now I think your curly braces are more accounted for because of the tabbing. So secondary isn't snappy to 50%. Let's take a look at secondary. What's going on in secondary? Secondary, you're on a snap. You add your breakpoint with 50% now. There's nothing flexy about secondary. There's no children inside secondary. Yeah, exactly. So that goes, it goes too up. And also let's untap include right there on 29. Let's line that up like that. Let's untap the closing careers so it lines up with the actual include. 34, look at that. Nice. Let's get rid of the extra space after that. 32. Get on the shit and get this. See? Refresh the browser.
right, let's do a hard stop. Hard stop. Put your mice down. Put your fingers down. No touch. So the last talk to you about 15 minutes ago, what's the new set of problems that you're working through?
Same as the old problem.
Same as the old problem. Dana, what was that?
It's because SAS is a compiler.
I know. Yeah. Here's a continual problem. If you work with SAS over like an hour or a little bit longer like this, once in a while SAS just falls asleep or it doesn't spit out an error telling you that there's a compile mistake. Once in a while, hit Control-C, turn it off, hit the up arrow on your terminal to go to your most recent command, and hit return and start the engine back up. What was that? What was that?
My SAS fell
Your SAS
asleep.
fell asleep.
And it worked.
It worked.
And it was good.
Okay, we're experiencing that problem. And there's nothing we can do except work with it. And occasionally, if you find yourself coding and nothing is changing, and you're ripping your hair out, just ask yourself, I wonder if SAS fell asleep. Cancel it and start it back up and refresh.
You got to.
All right, hard stuff. Hard stuff. Finish this on your own. Finish this on your own. I want to switch gears for the last half hour and talk about JavaScript and this little Syracuse.com demo on how to get a nav overlay set up. This is the last thing we're going to do. What's your question?
It was just SAS.
It was just SAS. You're good. Are we good? Are we good? Good, good, good. People. Bring it. Just relax. Unplug your brains for a few seconds a little bit. Let SAS go. This SAS, again, faster. Sometimes you betray me, but you're going to become the master pretty soon. What we're going to do in JavaScript tonight, really quickly, I do not want to contaminate what we're doing in Syracuse.com. I want to pause this and start something new. Briefly, watch this. I'm going to close this whole thing, close it down, close everything, close your life down, and go into your careers in code folder, module 2, and make a new project folder called Sandbox. Make a new project folder called Sandbox. Ignore my little play folder over here. New project folder called Sandbox. Everyone's doing this. Sandbox. Let's get an HTML document set up. Let's get a little style sheet going, a little body background color yellow. And get that off the ground. Do that yourself right now. Sandbox, empty folder. What are you going to do? You're going to drag it into VS Code. You're going to get that going. You're going to make an index.html file. You're going to link it to a new style sheet and change body background color to yellow. Make it a SAS file. Force yourself to take that little extra stuff. Now you don't have to do all the little subfolders. You don't have to do base and components and views. It's just you style that SAS, compiles into style.css with a body background color yellow. We're going to be in sandbox mode with cranbox colors. We're not going to get fancy with layout stuff right now. 2 minutes. Get that new HTML document going. Link it to the style sheet. Start up a little SAS. Body background color yellow. And get yellow to show up in the browser. Feeling pretty good at this stage, right? This little part, this little stage of a little new project doesn't feel like, oh, this is when web design was fun. Let's get a new project off the ground. I'm going to catch up with you a little bit. I'm going to take this sandbox folder and drag it into VS Code. Boom, it opens up VS Code with that folder. What am I going to do from here? What do you think? There's many ways of creating this project, this file, but
Go to the terminal.
Go to, oh, Eva, that's bonus points right there. Let's try to force yourself to always go to the terminal. Open it up. What am I going to do here? PWD, where the hell am I? Sandbox, great. Let's create an HTML document. What's the command to make a new file? Touch. Touch! Nothing to do with touching. I have no idea why they call it touch instead of like create or make or something like that. Call it index.html as a base file name. What else do we need while we're here setting up a new folder? Well, let's make a folder. What's the command to make a new folder? Make dir. Everyone say make dir. Make dir what? CSS. I'm going to change the directory and go into that folder. Now what? Touch. Style dot what? SCSS. Let SAS build out the CSS file for you. It will build it if you don't have one. Correct. So you're wasting your time if you make an empty regular style sheet. What else? What am I going to do now? This would be a perfect time to watch because I don't need to do terminal stuff. I don't have to get terminally. I don't have to get terminal anymore. So hey SAS, I want you to watch something. Watch what? Boom, boom, boom. Yep. Don't get sassy. Well, you are getting sassy, so whatever. And turn it into a butterfly. Take that moth and turn it into a butterfly. Enter. Boom. It writes the new file for you, and it's waiting for changes. Let's go back to index.html. What am I going to do? Exclamation point. Tab. Perfect. What else? I'm going to change the title. That's optional, but I'm going to call this sandbox. What else? Link to a style sheet, yeah. Before we get too far in this, what am I going to type out to link to a style sheet? Link, and then tab. What am I going to link to? Am I going to just, wait, is that correct? No, 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 no. A browser can't read a SAS file. Yeah, old-fashioned style.css in my CSS folder. Perfect. Open up your SAS file and change body background color to yellow. Save. Anyone see me do that really quick? Body. What's the shortcut for background color? BC, yeah. Tab. And then just delete, delete in yellow. Save. Now you got to open this up in the browser. I'm just going to go into and find index, and boom, I get yellow. Awesome. Questions about that?
When I created this SAS file, it did not create the CSS file or by default. Is that what is supposed to happen?
It's supposed to happen. Now, did you change directory and go into your CSS folder?
Yes.
Yeah, perfect.
I had to create.
It's going to, well, did you turn on SAS? You haven't turned on SAS yet. So it hasn't run the machine to spit out the style sheet. So turn on SAS and you'll be all set. Hey, does that all that make sense? Does all that make sense? Pretty cool, right? Did you know how to do that 3 weeks ago? Or 2.5, whatever we're up to? Awesome. Hashtag you're welcome. I taught you knowledge. Okay? You're not even appreciative. Don't even talk to me.
We're not worthy.
Yeah, we're not worthy. Okay, let's make a header element. We're going to simulate in Syracuse.com of clicking on some children inside the header to turn on this magical nav overlay. Let's go into your index.html and spit out a header element. I'm typing out the header text. Look at header and then tab, and it builds it out. And we're going to put a menu button inside here and a logo and a search button. I'm just typing out the text so far. Look how Look how silly this is. I'm not ready to do the button and the logo and the search button, so I'm just putting a little note to myself that this is eventually what's going to go into the header. Save. See what I'm doing there? I'm just staging a few things. I'm not getting into the details. I'm establishing my region first. Let's stylize this region before we get too far. Let's go to your style sheet. We're not getting fancy with partials right now. We're in a sandbox. So I'm going to go right into the header. Hey, header, you're going to be background color orange. And padding 1 rem. If you're going to use rems, what do you got to do? One little extra step. Everyone say it at the same time. Great, thanks. I can't understand a damn thing. What is it? Establish your default font size in your body. Font size and a recommended size right now is 16, but it's kind of, some people are getting more comfortable with 18 and 19, but 16 is pretty safe. Save, refresh, boom. You get a little render. Right now, normalize is bothering me, but right now I don't care because I'm in a sandbox. I'm not going to be pixel perfect. The purpose of this little demo is not to have it pixel perfect. You're going to see why. We're going to get into doing some bigger things. Questions so far? You with me? I am sprinting a little bit because I want to get to the magical sweet sauce of a little bit of JavaScript and a little bit of CSS. We're going to go back to the HTML and we're going to do a big nav. Type out the word nav and say nav overlay goes here. But this nav element is going to have a special ID. When you work with JavaScript, you want to start using some IDs to represent unique one-time only boxes, one-time only objects in your document. You can still use a class, but it's better to use an ID, especially when you're hooking up to JavaScript. You don't understand that right now, you will eventually. I'm going to call this overlay. Nav ID equals overlay. It's going to lay over top everything with some CSS. In CSS, how do you stylize an ID versus a class? Hashtag. That's the only way the browser knows that this is coming from an ID and not a class and not an element. ID overlay. Cash covered that last night. Is that why there's some giggles? Fake? Oh, do a cash sign, hash sign. What are you talking about? What are you laughing at? Okay, just moving on. Hey, overlay. I want you to be full screen, as big as your mobile device, as big as your desktop computer, your browser that is. I want you to be width 100 VW. Any guesses what VW means? Viewport, viewport window, viewport width. 100% of your viewport width, that's what that means. Height, 100 viewport height. 100% of the viewport height. Silly background color for right now of teal. Save, refresh the browser, and boom, okay, you kind of get some horizontal scrolly action, you get a little vertical scrolly action. Why is that? Why is that? You're not getting anything? Let's go back to HTML first. Do we have nav ID overlay? Nav ID, thank you. Sorry, I'm not laughing at you, but that's my inner monologue sometimes. Like, oh, great. I'm glad I stylized an object that doesn't even exist in my HTML. Nice. Genius. You can predict the future, right? Save. Make sure you save. Command S. Get that left hand on Command S half the time. And then your style sheet, hashtag overlay, because it's an ID attribute, not a class attribute. There's no really big difference, but technically an ID represents a unique item that only exists once in your document. A class technically indicates an object that exists multiple times. Like we did trending item, we did secondary, or showcase, all these little things. Technically they exist more than once. Is it okay to have a class only exist once? Yeah, it's fine. You can still use class. When in doubt, use a class. But when you start attaching JavaScript to objects, you might want to start bringing in an ID. You'll see more when you get into deeper JavaScript. Do you have this big mess? Okay. Now, when this nav overlay turns on, I want this on top of everything. I don't want to see header anymore. I want to literally cover up the entire face of this browser. And that is going to happen with, any guesses? Position colon, here comes a new one, fixed. You're going to be right in front of me no matter where I am on this browser. If I'm really scrolled down or scrolled up, you're going to stay with me fixed. You're going to be 0 pixels off the top edge of the browser. There's no relative parent here. And 0 pixels off the left edge of your of the body of the entire viewport, really. And z-index, I'm going to pick something super high. I want to make sure this overlay goes on top of 500 objects. I don't have 500 objects, but by picking a large number, you're guaranteeing that it's going to be on top of everything if this thing were to turn on. Z-index. Anyone heard of the z-axis? You know, you got your x-axis. What is this, karate job? X-axis. You got your y-axis. Little dance moves, okay. And then the z is how close something is to you and how far away something is to you. Higher the number means it's getting closer and closer. It's on top of 500 layers. If you have a lower number or negative number, that means it's going behind things. By picking a large number, we're just promising that this is going to be on top of everything. Boom. When I hit save and refresh, I can't see my header anymore. But it's technically there. It's just being buried. The header is like right here, but underneath. Okay. Cool. Let's do a property called visibility colon hidden on the overlay. Turn the overlay off until we need it. Boom. Visibility hidden. Can't see it. We're going to bring sexy back when we actually attach a class to the overlay. Yeah, a little JT reference. Thank you very much. We're going to bring sexy back. We're going to bring the overlay back. Oh, don't hit save on the browser. Are you with me so far? Questions? Good, good, good. How are we going to bring it back? We're going to bring it back if this overlay accepts an extra class called active. Now, do you have to call it active? No, you could call it period bananas. But what's going to happen is it's going to take the visibility property and turn it back to visible. The opposite of hidden is visible. If it has this extra class, if overlay then has an extra class called active applied to it, then it's going to turn back on. Okay, save. Nothing happens because when I hit refresh, there's no class called active being applied to it. In your raw knowledge of JavaScript, where do you think? How am I going to apply active to this overlay? I just answered the question. Damn it. With JavaScript. Okay. JavaScript can respond to a click of something and apply a class somewhere and remove it at the same time. Before I do this, Eva, question?
Just when I typed in &.active, it didn't, and like closes active doesn't have its comment color. Like it's not.
I have 2 curly braces. I have 1 curly brace for active, and then this curly brace for overlay.
But they're white, they're not.
You're in style.css right now. You're not in your Sass file. So go before you can cut a little bit and then move it back into style.sass. Somehow you got into style.css. That's why it turned white, because it's like, I don't understand ampersand.
Gotcha.
Gotcha, cool. All right, we're back. So JavaScript. JavaScript can add a class, remove a class. Let's load an external JavaScript file. You can always type things internal, but we're going to keep everything external. Watch this. To load a JavaScript file, it's almost like loading a style sheet. It's not your link element. It's your what? What element loads JavaScript? Script, yeah. And if you type in script, there's a second option down below. If you hit down, script source, you can hit tab on that. It just gives you the source attribute. If you don't hit down, watch what happens. Script, tab, oh damn it, then I gotta put source equals something inside that, which is fine. Here comes the JS folder that doesn't exist. And we're gonna load in a file called main.js. We're telling the browser, go get a JavaScript file that doesn't exist. It's coming from the JS folder, kind of like a CSS folder, and it's called main.js. Let's quit Sass for 2 seconds. Control C. PWD, where the hell am I? Terminals in CSS folder. I don't want to make a JS folder inside CSS. How can I get out of the CSS directory? CD .. slash or just .. I think you need a slash. I don't know. You can just do .. PWD. Boom, genius. I didn't know that. And then I want to make a JS folder. How do I do that? Make dir. Make dir. And then what? No. CD into the JS folder. Let me zoom in so you can see this. Okay, and then what? Touch. Touching you. Touching me. That's a while ago. Touch what? Touch what? Main.js. Touch, whatever file that you're linking to that script source, but you can see my script source. I'm looking for a file called main.js. Beautiful. Enter. Open that file up. And my first thing I always do, it's much like my style sheet, I always test. Is this file even being linked in correctly, sucked in? How do we test things in JavaScript? Console, yeah. Hey console, hey invisible little window that developers only know about in the inspection. I want to log something into you. Log what? Let's log in a secret little message called loaded. So secrets, yes. Save. That's in main.js. Now where are you going to see this message? If I hit refresh on my browser, I can't see loaded anywhere. Where is it? Yeah, right click, inspect element. And if you go to your console tab, you're going to see loaded coming from, if I make this smaller and zoom in a little bit, you're going to see loaded coming in from main.js line number 1. Exactly, yeah, my console log exists on main.js line number 1. Perfect. Let's just pause for 1 second. Questions? Eva, what's going on? Your SAS turned off. Well, I mean, right now SAS is turned off, but you might have to run SAS once to compile that final perfect style sheet so that you can then cancel it. Eva, you're such a good typer. Look at that. And then click here. You are not in the right folder. PWD, where are we? Oh, you're in JS. Let's get out of JS and go down into CSS. And then turn on the SAS machine.
Oh yeah, it's fine.
It says no such file. Why?
I don't want to turn SAS on.
What is this? Check here. What are you laughing at back there? What are you laughing at? Kidding, it's fine. All right, finishing up here. Finishing up. We're gonna make a variable called, wait, hold on, before I do a variable. Hold on. Hold on. Eva is a machine up here. She's awesome.
Thanks.
You good?
Okay, I guess now.
Do a little up trick, yeah. Up, 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 up. Find it. Yep, yep. Keep going. Boom. Start her up. And now, do we have yellow and orange? Yes, we do. Okay. Now, what I want to do right now is I want to eventually write something about clicking on something and then going and turning and applying a class to something else. I would love to have a button to click on and pick it up, select it here and say, hey, when you click on the button, add class called active to the nav overlay. First, we need a button in HTML. We're not going to stylize this button. I'm going to go inside the header and delete all the content inside header and just say, hey, a tag, I need you, and I'm going to call this menu. Why don't you do that? Type that out first, a tag with an empty hyperreference. And for right now, I'm just going to put a hashtag in here. It's not going to hurt anything. It's a nice quick placeholder. If I click on this a tag, it's going to go and turn on the overlay by adding a class to the nav ID overlay. But right now, I can't talk directly to this a tag. Okay, how can in JavaScript, how can I select this specific a tag and respond to a click? What do I really need to identify this uniquely? I need an ID, yes. When you work with JavaScript, you should identify your objects, your clickable objects, at least in this case. And I'm going to call this menu BTN. Just to remind myself that it's a button. It's a menu button, even though it's an a tag. It's not really a fancy button. When I hit save and refresh, nothing happens. Look out, I get a little menu hyperlink. Invisibly, what's happening behind the scenes is there's a little ID associated with it, but nothing's using this ID right now. But we will in 2 seconds. Save, refresh, nothing happens. You can click on menu. It doesn't take you anywhere, okay, because it doesn't have a destination. Are you with me so far? Href doesn't, when you have these type of buttons, these interface buttons, they're not taking you to contact.html. It's not taking you to starbucks.com external. It's just it's going to be an internal link. And often what you do is just put in a hashtag or just leave it empty. I like to put a hashtag in because, well, you'll see in advanced JavaScript it tells you whether something is working or not. It's an empty anchor template, technically. Anyways, boom. How do we talk to it? Well, an easy way, in my opinion, is to make a variable called menu BTN. And hey, variable, I want to store something inside you. I want to store the entire menu button inside you, which is terrible. Where am I going with this? Variable menu button. You are going to store the result of document, and it's going to find get element by ID, parentheses. Now, I did not type out get element by ID with camel casing. I did a get, and look at the drop down. I want to go and select that ID for the menu. So I'm going to use get element by ID and hit return, parentheses, and semicolon. I'm putting my cursor back inside the parentheses, and now I'm going to ask myself, what am I actually looking for? I just told JavaScript, go into the document, go into the DOM, go into your body, basically, not your body, but your index.html. And we're attaching a method called getElementById, and this element is built into the framework of JavaScript. And JavaScript's like, okay, I'm going to get something. What am I going to get? Menu what? Menu BTN. Notice there's no hashtag right here because it already knows it's looking for an ID. It doesn't need the extra little clue that you're looking for an ID. I make that mistake all the time. I put hashtag menu BTN and it never works because it already knows you're looking for an ID. Question? You always use the quotations when you specify something custom from your HTML side. If you don't have quotes, it's expecting this to be a variable called menu BTN up here with stuff inside it, which we're not doing. Nothing. So as long as you keep it consistent, you'll be good. But you can't do that. Don't do that. Doubles and a single? No. Just use one or the other. I don't know. You'll see a lot of people use one or the other.
How does it know
because this method goes into the HTML document and it looks for hashtag menu BTN. Okay. Now, with that variable, you can talk to that variable. That variable is holding that object. I'm going to prove that it's holding the object by console logging menu BTN. Now, notice I don't have quotes on this menu BTN. Console log menu BTN. When there's no quotes, it assumes that this is a variable. If I had quotes, it would literally spit out the word menu BTN at me in the console log. Watch what happens when I save. Control S. Refresh, nothing happens. But if I inspect element and go to my console, and now look at loaded, but boom, next line, it's literally picking up the entire A tag and spinning it at me in the console log. It's just logging the entire object called menu BTN. Let me zoom out a little bit and close my Explorer so you have more room. Yes, it fits in one screen. Okay, now what? Big deal. You selected it, you put it into a variable, now what? Well, here comes menu BTN. I'm going to add event listener. Just type out the word add. Menu.add. Menu.add, and there's one mega thing that you're going to add, and it's called add event listener. Parenthesis, parenthesis, semicolon. Right there is a naked format for attaching a method to a variable. Hey, menu BTN, I want to listen for something, some kind of interactivity. When something happens to menu BTN, we're going to declare what the browser is going to do in response. Are you with me so far? Put your cursor in the parentheses. This is where you get to define the response. Okay, first of all, what is the damn event? What are we listening for? What do you think? A click, yes. Click in quotes. Singles or doubles, doesn't matter. Click. That's the event. There's a lot of events in JavaScript. There's onload, on mouse over, hover. There's like a list of 20, 30 events that could possibly happen to this object. Right now, this is how I learned JavaScript, just a basic click. Comma, what happens in response to the click? Well, an anonymous function fires off. I'm going to type out the word function. And then I'm going to remind myself that every function, no matter what, needs its own set of parentheses and its own set of curly braces. Every function needs its own set of parentheses and its own set of curly braces. You're going to remember that 1,000 million times throughout the 24 weeks. I bring the closing curly brace down, and I'm going to label this little fragment click end, because that tells me it's almost like a slash div. Those little curly brace parentheses, semicolons get out of hand really, really fast. Without knowing the code, what do you think I'm going to write on line number 7? What am I going to write about? What do I want to happen? What do I want to happen right now? I want the menu thing to go whoop, whoop. Yes, thank you, Kate. Yes. I want JavaScript to go find the overlay box, the hashtag overlay, and add a class to it. Okay? By just typing it out like that in my mind, I'm going to put a little note here, find the hashtag overlay and add a class. I often just sketch out the note, sketch out the thought process in an invisible note to myself. First of all, before we get super deep, is this even working? Let's do a console log. Clicked the damn button. Click the damn button. You can put anything in this console log. Let's see if this even works before we get super deep. Save, refresh. You click, but you gotta have your inspection open. Console, look it! I got clicked the damn button and the A tag and loaded because all my console logs are still all turned on, which is good. Click the damn button. Okay, that worked. Last thing, this is it. This is the grand finale. I would love to first select the overlay. And we did it upstairs with menu BTN. I'm going to do the same thing. Variable overlay equals, hey document, hey JavaScript, hey DOM. I want to get an element by ID, and I want to get my overlay box. So I can talk to just the word overlay and not talk to this whole document.getElementById with overlay inside it. It's an abbreviation now. And I'm going to say, hey, overlay, I want to do something to your what's called class list. And I want to add something. And I think it's, is this correct? Yes. Add active to your class list. This little inside property is called class list. It's an internal property that you can't see visibly, but it's in the framework of JavaScript. Save, refresh. If I click, genius. Now, I didn't know how to do class list dot add. I had to look it up. JavaScript, how to add class to object. And Stack Overflow, W3 Schools, talked about have some kind of object, dot class list, dot add, parentheses, put the name that it's adding it to the class list. Let me zoom in so we can see this a little bit better. Class list, L of list is capitalized. You have to capitalize list, camel case list. It's communicating to your overlay, your hashtag overlay, your nav element, and saying, hey nav element, hey nav overlay, I want to add a class to your class list. This is an internal property that you can't see. It's a little property that's managing all the classes about this overlay. And you're adding it to that list. It's a little weird, but okay. Overlay class list active. Maybe that looks great. Now, do you have that inside the HTML? Do you have menu BTN? Where's menu BTN? Right there. Good. Did you ever get the console log that says click the damn button?
No.
Okay. I got the console log for the menu. That's good. Perfect. Let's go back to, let's click on menu. So Eva did a classic thing that I do all the time. I write all this code, I hit reload, and nothing happens. You got to click on the menu button to actually trigger this thing to work. You all laugh, but you'll all do this.
I didn't know this. Okay.
Karen, hold on, quiet. Question? It adds the class and it triggers visibility : visible. If you go back to your SAS in your style sheet and it turns it on. Yeah. Yeah. Right now, the last 2 minutes, challenge yourself. How do you close the nav overlay? How would you close it? It's open right now and it's not going anywhere. What can you write to close it? That's your last challenge right now. You just learned how to turn it on. Well, ask yourself, how's the close gonna even begin? Like, what are you even gonna do to trigger the close in general without knowing the code? A click of what? A click of what?
The overlay.
Yeah, you could say click on the entire overlay, but let's be a little bit better. How about an X icon? But right now we don't have icons. Why don't you put a hyperlink in your overlay, a little simple little A tag with an ID called close BTN. And if you click on close BTN, then take away nav overlay. I want to click on something inside the overlay to turn this whole beast off. Hey nav overlay, I want to click on something inside you to trigger this event of closing down the overlay. I don't have anything clickable in the overlay besides the overlay itself. Yes. Look at, you have a button in header. We're going to almost use the same thing inside overlay, but just change the ID so that we can click on that new object.
So another anchor within that.
Boom,
And
boom.
then ID is like close button.
Yep. You just learned how to make an anchor element in header. You attach an ID to it so that you can talk to it directly with JavaScript. We're not talking about it in CSS yet. This little name is connecting to some special code in your JavaScript file. Do the same thing. Have an anchor element inside your nav overlay that says close with close BTN. I'm going to copy this A tag upstairs, paste it down below, but don't forget to close it. Don't forget to call this close BTN and close. So if nav overlay comes up and hits you in the face, we're going to have a little hyperlink in there so you can click it and turn it off. I'm halfway there. I got the hyperlink. If I go back and refresh the browser, I click on menu, boom, nav overlay. There's my little close right there. Okay, click it, click it, click it, click it. It's not working. It's not working. Yes. Do it. You what?
It just went back.
Click. Wait, click on your menu. Boom. Click on close. Do you have close? Turn off. You have a link called turn off your overlay, which is good.
Yeah.
Click on that. What happens? Click on it. Nothing. Okay, that's where we are right now. So, how can you possibly do something about close BTN? Examine your code.
So we should do the same thing, only subtract classless.
Not subtract. What's the opposite of add? Remove.
I done did it.
We did it?
Yeah, you can feel it. You want to try it?
Try it. Try it. Boom. Close. Perfect. Imagine having like one else icon.
That's freaky cool.
Or like the menu, the hamburger icon.
Yeah.
Menu,
And then it like drops
times
down
icon.
like a little bit.
Yeah.
Like that. So
Wait, I don't know. Now she's back to yellow. It
Click.
just keeps saying.
you don't need to do something.
Click. Yeah. Oh, okay. You broke something. Let's go back to JavaScript. Now you're right in the middle of this whole click of the menu BTN while you're adding more stuff to the response to the click of the menu BTN. So 10 and 11. 10 and 11, you're
Alright, so I just got removed.
you're right in the middle of responding to the click. Let's get out of that area. So look at this is all what I've highlighted right there. That's all about clicking on.
Right.
Clicking on what? Clicking on menu. You need another statement about clicking on close BTN.
Now.
So instead of menu button, close overlay. I don't know. I think that's really hard.
Look how you set up menu BTN. There's no menu BTN. Select
Okay.
menu button. Select close button. You call it close button. And then, hey, close button. I want to click on you. I want to do something.
Because you're making the remove action active. I tried something else at first. And it doesn't.
Thank you for staying after. Bring it home. Watch this. You did the same thing. We did menu BTN. Why don't you just take that, paste it, and call it close BTN because I want to talk to close BTN, and it's selecting an ID called close BTN. Now what? What am I going to do? I have a variable holding my close button information. What am I going to do? I want to take this whole big massive chunk about clicking on the menu BTN, copy it, paste it. I don't want to talk to menu BTN. I want to talk to the close BTN. When you click on it, this function happens. This function, yeah, click the damn button. Overlay class list. Do I want to add active to the overlay? No. What's the opposite of add?
Remove.
Can't select that. Save. I'm going to come back. 1 second. Refresh. Click on menu. Click on close. Click on menu. Click on close. Boom. On, off, on, off. Oh, what was it? There it is. I like that. If I remove my junk, if I remove my notes and my extra console logs, look how simple this looks. Almost simple. Look how organized that looks. That's a spicy meatball. That's a clean code.
You're way too happy about this being your last class.
I had Starbucks coffee before class, so I am feeling good. It's kicking in right now. Yeah, doesn't that look nice and organized? No, but you gotta have you definitely have to have your variable declared first before you start talking about your variable down below, because from the top to the bottom. JavaScript works in a little different way. That's not exactly true, but let's just keep it that way so that if you have your objects ready to go, then you can start talking about them and use them down below. Notice I didn't have to type this all over again. Take the one that works, copy it, paste it, change your variable, change, add to remove, and you're all set.
Yeah.
Simple as that, Eva, right? Simple as that.
Yeah.
Hold on. Wait. Moving over there. You got it. You got it. We got it.
Do I need this thing anymore?
No, but you can keep it, whatever. Do you have close BTN as a variable? You got that, but do you have it upstairs? No. You need to have a variable hold it so you can interact with it. Last little thing. Hey, no, take menu BTN, copy the line, and just call it close BTN and close BTN. Last little thing, watch this sexiness happen. Watch this sexiness happen. Don't do this. Watch in CSS land. Watch this. When it becomes active, I'm going to steal width and height, 100 viewport height, and put that into the active class. Watch this. And I'm going to say, you know what, width? To start out with, you're going to be 0. Hey, height, you're going to be 0 when you start out with. But if anything changes about you overlay, if your width and height changes, you're going to transition to the new properties. You're going to transition if any or all properties change about you, and it's going to take 1 second. Watch this. Watch. You're going to start at 0, 0, and you're going to go to 100%, 100%, but it's going to take 1 second because it's a transition. Save, refresh, click. You ready? Ready? Ah, son of a bitch. It was a quick second. Hold on. Transition, all, 0px, 0px. It doesn't matter. Visibility hidden. Do I have to put transition here? I don't think so. Don't do this. Just watch. Watch me struggle. No, I had it in the right spot. How about 0 VW and 0 VH just to match the units, and make it 5 seconds just to exaggerate. Save, refresh. No, of course not. Why would you work? Why would you work when I need you to work? Well, what the hell did I do? I did a demo like 5 seconds ago when I clicked on this. Whoop, that's what I was like after. And what did I do special about that? Nothing. You shh. You don't give the professor advice. That was high. That was. Wait, wrong one. Am I missing something so? What am I possibly missing? Where's your new? Oh, Sass, you fell asleep, Sass. I don't have Sass turned on. I have it turned off because I was doing my little touchy. I got the touching to make doors. Oh, Sass, you're killing me. Oh, my. Oh, yeah, of course, yeah, because I'm not in the right folder, PWD, Control C, get out of here, PWD, I'm in the JS folder, CD, .. And then CD, go into the CSS folder and turn Mr. Sass machine back on. Oh, there it is, little transition. Okay, woo, woo. Daddy's okay, Daddy's okay, Daddy just got a little angry. Okay. Type that out. Go to your style Sass. I am saying, hey, width and height, you're going to start at 0, 0. You're just going to be a tiny little dot, or not even a speck. If anything changes about you, transition all. All means any property that's going to change. Means this is going to listen for any changes, all properties. And you're going to take 0.2 of a second. You can change that value to 1 or 5 or whatever. More importantly, when active gets applied, you're transitioning to width and height 100 VW, 100 VH. Why don't you steal those from above and put them in? All you need those properties, make sure you turn Sass on, like I did at the very beginning, obviously. And then bada bing, bada boom, you created your first transition from point A to point B. Turn Sass on. Why don't you remind yourself, is Sass on? Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Active visibility visual. Transition. And maybe 1 second.
I have width and height zeros. Get rid of the default. I mean, whatever you had for width and height, let's move it down here, and then go to 0, 0. Transition all and some duration. 0.2 is pretty snappy. But if you do, you can always start with a longer value, like 2 full seconds. It's going to feel super slow, but click on your menu. Bloop, 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 bloop. Bloop, 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 bloop. All right, that's it. That's it for tonight. If you can understand what I'm doing tonight, you can easily keep going and keep pushing the limits. You can start transitioning this into the final Syracuse.com version. Now, we abandoned Syracuse.com briefly. I'm going to pick it up on Sunday during a live code session. But I want you to maybe take a little bit of this and bring it over back into Syracuse.com. Like if you look at the PDF for Syracuse.com, there is a nav overlay. There's a navigation in there, there's a search bar in there, but it's inside a big div, possibly called overlay. This is why I escaped. I went out to a little sandbox demo, so you can understand this little concept of adding a class, removing a class. If you take that concept, bring it back into Syracuse.com, and start to put in the right pieces, you can have this kind of magic happen. Do you have to transition? No, this is a complete optional thing, but it adds that little sexiness. If you want to make it to feel like it drops down, watch this. If you want to make it to feel drop down, well, maybe start it with 100 VW, 100% of your viewport width, refresh. Watch this, click. Look at that, doesn't that feel like a drop down? Oh, it's because it just starts with the right width. It just has 0 height. It's a razor thin box. And this is like overkill if I have that down there, but it transitions to 100 viewport height. Okay, or do you want it to have it like slide out from the left What would I do if I wanted to feel like it makes it slide out to the left? Any guesses? Yeah, instead of dropping, right now it's dropping down, how can I slide out? You just do the opposite. Have your height preset and have no width and transition to a new width. Same kind of thing. Anyways, enough. Thank you for making progress over the last 3 weeks. We'll make some more progress this weekend, and you're going to make progress over 24 weeks.
I tried to do the thing, but the transition, I guess, but it doesn't really do the drop down.
Okay.
And I move the width back up here,
Yeah.
and I don't know why it's not.
Let's start with height 0. Do you have height 0 somewhere? Where's height 0?
No, I don't.
Okay, so put in height 0 up here for the defaults, and then you're going to transition to height 100 viewport. Height. What? What? No. Bring it up here. What? I'm going back to JavaScript so you can take a look at this beautiful specimen. Yeah, look at that. You can close. Where's your link to close? Thank you. See you soon. Click. Now, what's not working possibly is, do you actually have variable close button that selects close BTN? Do you have a whole close BTN event listener about clicking? I think you did. You have close BTN as a variable upstairs. Yeah, variable close BTN. That's good. Now, do you have close BTN in your index.html file? You guys can put this big cookie going on. Your href equals unsigned no closure and VS Code as well. Perfect. Good. Save. That was destroying the close BTN, and now you are good to go. So it's a matter of adding a class, removing a class. Adding, removing, and when on that class it's added, you have to transition.
Yeah, I can't even get my name first. That's good. I was like, you're leaving.
I'll be back for a few little things.
When you first did it, you came from like the corner. I can't make it.
Show you some what you can do. As you get deeper and deeper into this, it's always nice to take a step back. Yeah.
Are you going to put it on the table that you made? One of us was driving and the other one.
Yes. I'm going to push this sandbox up and mysocials.com responsive to GitHub, and I'll show you the URL. Yeah, then you would get full.
Yeah, because
Thank you so much, Jack. You did a great
Good.
job.
Yeah.
You're a really good teacher. I feel like, okay, so I think there's like an idea I kind of had was that I think out of all like the instructors, you're the one with the most teaching experience.
Yeah.
So maybe you can like provide